So what are the dangers of e-cigarettes, and is vaping actually safe? I'm Jay from jvapes.com, and in this video I'm going to try to address these questions for you by taking a look at some of the studies and information that's out there about the safety of e-cigarettes. Now, obviously, I feel like I should start this video by saying I'm not a doctor or a scientist or anything like that, so you probably shouldn't listen to anything I say. I'm just a vapor that's done a lot of research about the safety of e-cigarettes, and I'm just going to share with you what I've learned and how I've come to the conclusions that I have come to about the safety of e-cigarettes. And because I vape myself, some people might think that I'm going to be quite biased, but I promise you I'm going to try to be as objective as I can. So the truth of the matter is that e-cigarettes are still very much a new technology, and we don't have decades of research that have been done on them like we do with other technologies. However, they have been around for a few years now, and more studies are starting to pop up. So one of the most recent and interesting studies was done by a guy called Professor Igor Burstyn, and it was interesting because it was one of the first proper studies done into the chemistry of e-cigarettes that looked at not only how harmful it was to the vapor, but also to other people nearby, so people experiencing second-hand vape. He reviewed over 9,000 observations about the chemistry of the vapor and the e-liquid in e-cigarettes, and what he concluded from the study was that the level of contaminants that e-cigarette users are exposed to whilst vaping were insignificant and far below that would create any kind of health risk. Furthermore, he also concluded that there was no health risk to bystanders, which is also interesting because it's one of the biggest arguments that anti-e-cig proponents make when trying to make the case for banning e-cigarette use in public spaces. His findings do, however, mention that e-cigarette users are inhaling large amounts of propylene glycol and glycerine, which are the two main ingredients in e-cigarette juices. And what he suggests is that even though these chemicals aren't considered to be dangerous, and that the exposure levels are far below occupational exposure limits, which means the limit to what's considered safe for people who are exposed to these same chemicals in the workplace, he says that they still don't have enough data yet to verify that these ingredients aren't totally safe, and that there should be ongoing monitoring to make sure that there is definitely no risk. You can find a full link to this study below this video. Now, another thing that concerns a lot of people about e-cigarettes is that you are still inhaling nicotine, and many people wonder, does this make them just as bad as traditional cigarettes? However, something that a lot of people don't realize is that whilst, yes, nicotine is extremely addictive, and it's what makes smoking cigarettes so addictive, it's not the part of the traditional cigarette that kills over 5 million people worldwide each year. It's all of the extra chemicals that they put in them. In fact, traditional cigarettes have a cocktail of over 4,000 chemicals in them, with over 70 of them being known to cause cancer. These include chemicals like tar, arsenic, benzene, and countless others, but nicotine is not one of those cancer-causing chemicals. And you can research this for yourself by just googling, is nicotine harmful, or nicotine studies, and you'll find that this is a well-documented conclusion, and not just on pro-e-cigarette websites either. If you head over to the American Cancer Society website, for example, you'll see that in their list of cancer-causing chemicals, nicotine is not in that list. Now, nicotine does have its risks. It does constrict your blood vessels, which causes your heart rate and your blood pressure to rise. However, these are very similar effects to what you get with caffeine. So basically, yes, nicotine is addictive, and yes, it has stimulant-like effects, but it's not one of the cancer-causing chemicals that you'll find in traditional cigarettes. Now, if you're looking for more information about the safety of e-cigarettes, as well as about e-cigarettes in general, then there's a great lecture on YouTube by Dr Lynne Dawkins, which you can check out by clicking here. The full lecture goes for about an hour, but if you just want to skip to the part about the safety of e-cigarettes, then you can just skip to about the 40-minute mark. However, here are some cliff notes of her findings. She mentions that although the ingredients in e-juice are considered safe for ingesting, we don't yet know enough about the long-term effects of vaping these substances, so we need to do more research on this. She finds that e-cigarettes do reduce air quality, but to a far lesser extent than with traditional cigarettes. And finally, another risk that she talks about is with the high levels of nicotine in the juice itself. She goes on to talk about how 30 milligrams of nicotine is a lethal dose, and whilst it would be unlikely that a vapor would ever be able to reach this level through just vaping, because if you do ever start to take too much, you just get a headache and automatically stop vaping. If someone were to unintentionally or intentionally drink that juice, it could be lethal. So it's extremely important that vapers are aware of this fact, and just like with bleach or other household items that would kill you if you drank them, it's important that vapers store their e-juice in places where children can't get to them. Now, obviously, I can't cover everything that's within these resources. The study is 22 pages long and the lecture is an hour long, and rather than trying to cover everything in this video, I encourage you to just check them out for yourself. You'll find links to them below this video. So what does all of this mean? Are e-cigarettes safe? Are they not? What's the deal? Well, I really like the point that Dr Lynne Dawkins made in the lecture that I just linked you to, which is that of course you can't class e-cigarettes as absolutely safe, but neither can you with a lot of commercially available products. Products like bleach, medicine, razor blades all have their risks, and so do e-cigarettes. So if the question is, are e-cigarettes 100% safe? Then the answer is no. However, if the question is, are e-cigarettes less harmful than traditional cigarettes? Well, the answer is, so far, the studies are pointing strongly towards yes. And they're pointing towards them not being just a little bit less harmful, but by a huge amount. So personally, the reason that I vape is because I would rather go with the option that studies so far are saying is relatively safe, even if there's more research that needs to be done, than go with the option that we know is seriously harmful and kills millions of people worldwide every year. And sure, the ideal option would probably be just to not smoke or vape at all. So if you don't already smoke cigarettes, then don't just take up vaping for the hell of it. But if I'm going to choose between the two, I'm going to pick vaping every time. Now, like I said, it's up to everyone to do their own research and to assess the risks on their own and to come to their own conclusion. These are just my personal thoughts and why I have personally chosen to vape. Again, I have links to all of the resources that I mentioned in this video directly below. I hope you found this video informative, and don't forget you can click here if you want to subscribe for more vaping reviews and guides and other cool stuff. Until next time guys, peace out.